Happy New Year, and welcome to the first Pet Pals of 2024. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center, and animal wrangling for us, per the usual, is our volunteer coordinator, Sean Snyder. And we've been doing a lot of dogs, and things have kind of, we're getting into our slower pace. Not as many cats, not as many dogs. So we're going to showcase a couple of cats for you today, and the first one is Merlot. As you may hear, she's a little bit of a talker. She has some feelings that she's wanting to share. And she is the oldest resident we have right now at 11 years old. She is super sweet. She's very affectionate. She's one of those cats that does not, beg for attention though. Like when I went to see her just a few minutes ago, she was, under her hammock in her bed, cuddled up. And then I opened the cage and, she was like, "Are you going to hang out? Are you okay, I'll come out." And then it's, we got some pets in. We watched some of the staff mop the floor. Was very interested in what was going on around her, very curious. And then when I closed the door, she was like, "Okay, are we done?" And she went back and got in her bed. So, while she loves attention, she's not super needy. She's capable of just hanging out on her own. She does enjoy a cozy cat bed. Not every cat does. Mine don't. It doesn't matter how many buy. But she seems to like them. And according to, her previous owner, she enjoys being brushed and things like that. So she has a lot of potential, but she does seem to be a little bit nervous in new environments. So it may take her a couple of days to really settle into a new home. So you just want to be patient, and make sure that she's feeling comfortable. And we go over things to make that process less stressful during any adoption interview that we would do for one of our animals.
So Merlot was returned to us after 10 years of adoption. Why was she returned?
It's really kind of sad. A lot of us read the paperwork and we felt bad for Merlot. A lot of cats tend to jump up high. They like to sit up high on things. They like to perch. It's like a biological thing for them. It's just part of their normal thing to want to sit up high as predators and prey animals. So she was jumping up on counters and tables and was a little bit too interested in the table food. And I guess after, didn't get a lot of details, whether it was she was doing it the entire time or she just recently started doing it, her family decided that they didn't want to deal with it anymore and brought her back to us. I can say, yeah, it can be a little bit annoying if your cat's trying to steal your chicken nuggets off your plate, because I have one that does that. But it's super manageable because I have one that does that. So, in any adoption interview, we can talk about that stuff. But also, it's important to have alternatives. If she's jumping up on, the table because she wants to sit up high, giving her a cat tree or something else where she can sit up high. If she's all of a sudden really interested in food, that's a behavioral change. Maybe there might be something medical that you might want to discuss with your vet. Like, for example, Merlot has a dental grade 3 out of 4. So maybe her teeth are bothering her, and if she's being fed hard food, maybe she's jumping up and eating softer things. So all of those things you want to, look through. We can talk through those things during those adoption interviews, but definitely always consulting with your vet anytime you're noticing a significant change in your animal's behavior, because it could be medical. But for right now, Merlot is here waiting for her forever family. And if you think this super sweet senior is going to have a great retirement home in your house, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to book an appointment to meet her. Our next cat is one of our male cats that's available for adoption, and we really don't have that many cats on the adoption floor right now. We have a couple of older kittens, a couple of adult cats, and a lot of empty cages, which is a good thing for us. Not as much to choose from, but the ones we do have to choose from are great cats like Henry here. His full name is Henry M. Peaches. We've decided the M stands for Marshall recently. He's about 2 years old, and he's a cream tabby. He's a handsome little guy. He has a very cute little unique face, kind of looks concerned all the time. He's very sweet, very affectionate, a little bit nervous in new environments, but he hasn't been with us all that long, really. Just kind of still settling in. Recently went on the adoption floor. Much like Merlot, he enjoys his cat bed. His kind of looks like a couch, and he just kind of lays there like he's watching TV as people walk by. He's been interested in play and, seems to be, a very easygoing, kind of relaxed guy. And hopefully will make a great addition to any family. We don't have any age restrictions on where he can go. And he came in really good condition. His nails were already trimmed. He was already neutered. So he was definitely somebody's pet. They just unfortunately never came forward to claim him. And you can even kind of see the ring where he was wearing a collar at one point. So somebody's missing out. If you're watching the show and he's your cat, then definitely stop in. But otherwise, we'll find him a fantastic and loving home. He's got that cute little like peachy colored nose too. There's just so many great things about Mr. Peaches here.
So Henry has quite a unique name, and I heard there's a story behind it. What's that?
There is a little bit of a story behind it. We talked about how he definitely looks like he's been owned, and multiple stages throughout our process, we looked through our loss reports, and we found a loss report that was emailed to us through Paw Boost, which is a company that people can report to. And we saw a picture of a guy that looked a lot like this cat here. So we had already kind of figured that we were going to name him Henry. But then the cat in this loss report said Peaches. And we were like, we're already kind of committed to Henry. So he became Henry M. Peaches. But there was only an email address on the loss report as a contact. And despite multiple attempts to email, multiple attempts to kind of post on another Facebook page as well, nobody came forward. So we've proceeded with making him available. But I say all of this to remind people, if your pet is lost, file a loss report, because again, multiple stages along the way, we check those to see if we have an animal here that matches that description to help you get your animal back into your home. The same goes for if you find animals. We have found reports where, I found this dog, I'm going to keep him at my house until an owner comes forward. We can connect people. So you want to make sure you're really filing those reports. Another thing that can be super helpful to make sure your animals get back home is microchipping them. All of ours are microchipped before they leave, cats and dogs. But we also have microchip clinics here every Wednesday. It's $20 cash to implant and register those microchips. So it gives you that kind of sense of safety and security and that secondary line of defense to get your pet back to you. But for Henry and Peaches here, if you want to make him your new pet and make sure that he stays inside where he's going to be there with you forever, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to book that appointment to visit. The first dog that we have for you today is Milo, and Milo is an energetic young dog, like most of the dogs that we have, to be honest. But he's very friendly, very playful. If you're looking for a high-energy dog and you have plenty of ways to keep him active and busy, then he will be a great fit for you. He loves to play. As you can see, he walked in, he sniffed out some treats, and then he was like, boom, toys. I'm here for it. He is the kind of guy that he might need a little space if you're, in a toy room, because he likes to throw them in the air for himself and then chase after them, slide across the floor. He gets the zoomies, but he is capable of doing what he's doing right now, which is just kind of laying there and chewing on his toys quietly by himself as well. One of the big things about Milo is that he can get a little overstimulated sometimes. So we want to make sure that we have plenty of ways to de-escalate him. So, he has a really good sit, so you can put him in a sit and give him a treat, or we can use things like Find It to distract him with things on the floor, touch, all kinds of things that you can work with on him to kind of get him to de-escalate any of those situations. And because he's super treat motivated, it's going to make training him and teaching him those things very easy. The more often you do it, the better he's going to be. And anytime you're training a dog, just because he's learned it doesn't mean you should stop doing it. Maintenance is important. If you teach your dog to sit and then you never ask him and have him sit, eventually he's gonna be like, well, it doesn't matter anymore, right? So maintenance with those things, even if you're not needing them all the time, you want to make sure that you're going through and making sure that he remembers those tasks. He's been pretty good with the other dogs according to his behavior assessment. He's had positive reactions to them, so it's possible that he could live with a canine friend. But you want to make sure that you're doing those proper meet and greets to make sure that everything is nice and safe.
So Milo was actually adopted, but they returned him. What happened?
So he was adopted for about a day, and then unfortunately he was brought back. I mentioned earlier that he can sometimes get a little overstimulated, and he was in the backyard playing with a young teenager. and we think it was a game of tug gone wrong, basically. Milo's favorite game is tug. He loves to tug, and if it gets to that point where he's a little overstimulated, stops grabbing the toy, worked his way up a sleeve, was chewing on the sleeve, and didn't really want to let go because he was in the middle of play. So that's where it's important to talk about de-escalating those situations. And there's also rules for games of tug, like the proper way to play tug so that he doesn't get to that point. And our staff is now working with Milo to really introduce him to that outlet of tug, but in a proper way so that he learns the game, so that then we can teach his new owners to make sure that escalation doesn't happen in the future. It was just a minor incident, but it did apparently scare the people who adopted him. So they felt he wasn't the right dog for him. And as a result of that, we've also changed the recommendations for ages for children in the home with Milo from any age to teenagers and older, just to make sure that they are able to kind of work through that and follow directions. But if you're ready for a high energy dog and you're ready to learn the game, the rules of tug, you can visit Milo by going to visit fcac.as.me and booking that appointment. Our next dog is something a little different. We have a lot of terrier pitbull type dogs, and this is a hound mix, and he's a young dog. This is Shindig. He's about a year old. We were just talking. He reminds me of one of our other hounds, Dixie, but like a male version of Dixie. Same cute little smile, about the same size, and definitely similar energy levels. He is a typical hound in that he loves to sniff things. I was trying to take his picture and, he was like, I missed a treat somewhere. I can't focus. Oh, I smell them in your pocket. So, if you've never had a hound before, do a little research before you jump into that pool, because they love to follow their nose. You're going on a hike, you think you're going one direction, but he smells something somewhere else. Maybe it takes you a while to get him back on track. More inclined to run out of fences, especially, if you have an invisible fence. They're not recommended, generally speaking, but with a dog that's going to follow their nose, nothing's going to deter them. So I'm thinking about those types of things, but otherwise, super fun dog. He'd probably be a good, hiking companion, running companion even. As you can see, he does have a lot of energy. So making sure you're prepared for the youthful exuberance of a 1-year-old dog, right? He does know sit, but he is still working on basic good manners. So, you're going to have to put in some effort with, teaching him how to walk nicely on a leash. Some of the staff and volunteers mentioned he's a little bit of a puller. So working on that. And definitely giving him an outlet for all of this energy so that when you are ready to train, he's ready to listen and can focus. But he's very sweet and has a lot of potential, and he's going to make a great pet. Because he can be a little jumpy and exuberant, but also a little bit nervous in new situations. We have recommended him for kids that are a little bit older, just because we don't want really young kids to startle him. And then maybe he reacts in a negative way. But also, we don't want him to knock over little kids either. So once he's comfortable, he could then, maybe knock them over. So, all of those things are, again, recommendations. So if you have a kid that's used to a puppy that's knocking them over, it might not be as important to you, but those are why those recommendations are there.
So when he first arrived, he was totally different. His behaviors changed. How so?
So, when he first came in, and one of our animal control officers brought him in and did a little note about how he was, basically just like so scared and nervous that didn't really move. He was just like stuck there in fear. And we put him in a quieter area for a while, and he started to come around and, gave him a lot longer to kind of settle in than maybe some other animals might get, because he was so nervous. The shelter is, again, a super stressful environment, and it's not a normal environment to be in. So some animals do take a little bit longer to acclimate and adjust to the smells and the noises and just the routine here. So we gave him that time, and as you can see, still a little bit nervous as what he was when he first came in, but he warmed up pretty quickly. So we want to make sure that people are remembering that, even in moving from the shelter to their homes, he may be a little bit more nervous at first, but he definitely can make that transition if you're patient and give him, that quiet space. But just, going to the vet's office, that might be scary for him. So he might not be a great travel dog until he starts to learn that, new places are awesome. So if you want to help Shindig learn that new places and new people are awesome things, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to book that appointment to meet him and start the process of making him your new pup. Our next dog is just as energetic, but in a bigger package. This is Revel, and he is another one of our terrier mixes. He's about 2 years old, and I call him like a pig dog. We have a lot of pig dogs. I think people will remember Julie, who was our alien pig dog, and now that's kind of continued. You know, Julio, pig dog. Haggard, pig dog. This guy, pig dog. He has a really unique coat in that he's got, the black spots in his skin that kind of show through his white fur, and he's got little black spots on his ears too. So he just has a really unique look. And he's got obviously those great like wonky floppy ear, one floppy ear, one stand-up ear. It's just like his personality really shows through his face. Like he's it's hard. He's a standout for sure. But he is a large dog, and as you can see, he's like, not always spatially aware. He's very bouncy, and he likes to play with his, investigate things with his mouth and shake his head around, and jump all over the place. So we have recommended him for, I think it says tweens this time, because he's not doing anything wrong per se, but as you can see, him throwing himself against your legs could quite easily knock over a small child, just with his exuberance for life. So, looking for things like that, we've noted that he has kind of an intimidating bark, but that's just how he talks. He's like, doesn't have volume control per se on his vocalization. So he always sounds like he's yelling at you, but that's just him. He has a scary sounding bark, but he's really friendly and excited. He actually, we have most of our dogs, we say, they react favorably to the other dogs walking by. Revel play bows at everybody. He's like, hey, let's play. Let's get it on. You want to be friends? So, right now he's been doing really well with the other dogs. So, if you have an existing dog in your home that might be, and you're looking for another one, he might be a good fit. He enjoys petting, but again, can be playfully aroused, as we've seen a little bit on the show today. But big dog, harder to walk. So definitely a harness. Sometimes we struggle even here to find harnesses that fit dogs the size of Revel. So we use the slip lead harnesses, which you can get online, which are adjustable as he, slims down potentially. So that might be an option for you guys. But otherwise, he's just like a goofy, excited dog who's going to be bring a lot of energy and joy to whatever home he ends up in.
So he's our largest dog at 90 pounds.
Yes.
Would you say that's a good weight for him, or should he be dieting?
Our vet here, Dr. Thomas, has wrote in her notes in his profile that he is considered obese. He should be losing quite a bit of weight. His ideal weight is about 75 pounds. So he has a way to go to get to his ideal weight. We were commenting the other day, he's going to be hangry as he goes down to his new dieting routine, but we're going to be trying to up his exercise and lower his calories to get him to that healthy weight. But it is something that you don't just do. You want to make sure that you're doing it properly. Whoever adopts him should check in with their vet and make sure that they're doing it slowly, because if you do it too fast, other health problems can ensue. So you want to make sure that you're doing it the proper way. And then you just want to make sure that you're maintaining once he does hit his ideal weight. So that's something that you're considering if you're taking him on, so that he can be with your family for a long time. The healthier he is, the longer he's going to be with you. Not a hard thing to do. We've had lots of people who have adopted dogs that are a little bit on the heavier side and works through that weight loss. Cats as well, that have slimmed down. So it's just about taking the time and paying attention to all the snacks and treats that you're giving your dog. But if you want to help Revel here get down to his ideal weight in his summer body before the spring, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to book that appointment to meet him. Our last guest today is one of our long-term residents. This is Mr. Peabody. He's been with us since the beginning of September. And one of the things that I like about Mr. Peabody is just his look. He's a 1 to 2 year old dog, but he has like that permanent puppy face. And he has got We have him down as a cattle dog mix. He's definitely got some sort of interesting mix. So it'd be interesting to see what a DNA test or something like that said, because he has a very unique look, which is surprising why he's still here, because he doesn't have that typical kind of pit bull type dog look. And most people are looking for some alternative to that. He is a very treat motivated, smart guy. And what I love about him is he takes treats so gently. Like, he's a little bit different when he's out and about, but when I walk by his kennel and we're doing it through the chain link on his kennel, he's like so gentle. I'm like, did you actually get the treat in your mouth? So he has a very soft mouth, and he's very playful and energetic. He loves to run. He gets the zoomies. He is very interested in other dogs, but we haven't found the right friend for him. Sometimes he comes off a little too strong, and the other dogs are like, "Whoa, buddy, relax." So, he is capable of, living with another dog, but it does have to, I think, be the right match. So that's why meet and greets are going to be really important with Mr. Peabody. He does have a little bit of a longer coat than maybe some of the other dogs that we have available, so he probably will need a little bit more brushing and things like that, just to make sure that things aren't getting matted, things are staying nice and clean. But otherwise, if you're looking for an active dog, you're prepared to take him out hiking and doing all those things, which he actually really enjoys, he's going to be a great fit for your family. And we don't have any age restrictions for Mr. Peabody. When he first got here, there were some families that were very interested in him, and those applications fell off through no fault of his own, but they did have young children, and he did really well in their meets here with them. So, if you're looking for a dog that can be with your young kids, Mr. Peabody might be a good fit.
So he's the last dog we have that went through puppy camp.
Yes.
So what do they learn at puppy camp?
So, puppy camp, depending on which type of camp they're going to, they learn different things. But Mr. Peabody went to our basic class, which is just going to be teaching, the introduction of basic clicker training. And he mastered sit really well. He was working on down, as well as weight and touch, and then he also does a cute little army crawl. So he was working on some of those things, but we have now assigned one of our staff people to Mr. Peabody to kind of help continue to reinforce those things, so that he'll still be able to do them when he gets into a home. But because, again, super treat motivated and eager to learn, teaching him those good manners as he moves into a home environment will be a little bit easier than if he were less inclined to want a delicious, tasty treat. But if you think that Mr. Peabody is going to be a good fit for you because of all the reasons that you've heard today, the next step is going to be to go to visit fcac.as.me to book your appointment to meet him. You can also find applications for cats, dogs, and small animals there, so you can have those downloaded, filled out, and ready to go when you come and visit. We hope that you enjoyed meeting some of our adoptable animals here at Frederick County Animal Control. As I mentioned, at the beginning of the show, we are getting into our slower season, where we don't have, as many animals as we typically do, but still have a ton of animals who need loving forever homes. So if you're in the market for a furry family member, please check us out.